couple of people just do the second. Agar terdapat dia lah space. Thank you, Your Worship. Good afternoon. They are still working on the machine. They're indicating it's not going to take long. My apologies, Your Worship. They are, Your Worship. I'm informed that the screen was off. The court pleases. The state is calling case number F473 of 26, State versus Charlotte Tibana, accused number 1. Accused number 2, Peter Nonyane. Your Worship, accused appearing before this honorable court, and today is the 26th of August 2026, And the court is constituted as follows. Presiding officer is Mr. Neshi Ozwi. On behalf of the state is Advocates Amolokwani and Advocate Ann Nzimande. And court interpreter is Ms. Sibidiwa. Accused are represented by Mr. Maluleke. Your Worship, this matter is on the roll today for continuation of the formal bail application. And prior the continuation thereof, Your Worship, prior the state witness continuing to testify, the state would like to bring an application in terms of Section 81, subsection 1 of Act 51 of 1977 for joinder of charges. Your Worship, the state would like to join counts 6 to 13. And those are charges of fraud. And Your Worship, such charges are in respect of both accused persons respectively. Certain charges are in respect of accused number 1, and other charges are in respect of both accused persons.
So the charges is from count 6
to 13.
And
1 3.
all charges of
Fraud.
and they refer to both the accused.
Your Worship, counts 6 and 7. It's in respect of both accused persons before the Honorable Court. Counts 8 to 13 are in respect of accused number 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Accused, you may stand up. Accused person. Before we proceed with the evidence that we were proceeding with yesterday, the state has indicated that there are additional charges that should be joined to the current one, and that is count 6 to 13. Some refers to accused number 1, and some refers to accused number 2, and that is in terms of Section 81, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 is amended. I hope the defense counsel to yourself has been appraised of the charges that the state intended joining. Is it confirmed?
Indeed, so, Your Worship. I've been provided with the annexure to the charge sheet, which reflects the new charges, and I've taken instructions on that.
And no objection?
No objection, Your Worship. Thank you. Say that I've been instructed, obviously, at a later stage to bring an application to reopen the applications of 1 and 2 to deal with what has now been preferred by the state.
Thank you. So the application by the state for joinder of charges is hereby granted, and count number 6 to 13 are therefore accordingly joined to the current charges in terms of Section 81, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977.
As the court pleases. Your Worship, with the leave of court, may I kindly proceed to
se
read.
muchuchi se a hlamusela mahlweni ka huvo ku ri swilo swi cincini se ku na le milandzu yin'wanyani leyi nga ngeteleriwa eka milandzu liya n'wina va mi hehla hi yona mi ta swi twisisa ku ri milandzu ya n'wina a yi ri 5 se sweswiwani va ri yi suka yi ya ka 6 yi fika ka yona 13 milandzu yaleyo i ya n'wina vumbirhi bya n'wina ku na yin'wanyani yi nga ya wena muhehlo wo sungula ntsena se a endla xikombelo xa ku huvo yi mukela xikombelo xa yena ku ri va ngetelela milandzu yona yaleyo huvo yi ku a yi na nkingha na mhaka yona yaleyo na gqwetha ra n'wina ri ku ri mi hlamuserini ku ri ku ta va na ku na milandzu leyi nga ngeteleriwa a nga na nkingha na swona.
Can I kindly proceed, Your Worship?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Specific preamble to counts 6 to 13. Fraud. Mohadi Andrika Mueji, with the identity number stated here into the charge sheet, is a female victim and or the sole heir to the estate of the late Makulove Albert Mueji, to whom she was married in community of property. The late Makulove Albert Mueji had passed away on the 13th of December 2025, leaving the entire estate to his wife. Mohadi Andrika Mueji was informed to appoint an attorney to administer the estate of her late husband. The said Mohadi Andrika Mueji, as the sole heir of the estate of her husband, requested legal services of accused number 1 as an attorney to assist her in the winding up and or administration of the estate of a late husband. On or about the 18th of December 2025, a letter of executorship was issued to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji, who then appointed accused 1 as agent. Some of the duties of accused 1 included but not limited to the taking control of the assets of the estate, paying the creditors and debtors of the estate, and paying the heirs of the deceased. The estate of the late Makolobe Albert Moeji held a First National Bank account number 631-884-18199. The state alleges that the said First National Bank account was opened by accused number 1 without the authorization of Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 7th April 2026, accused 1, acting with common intent and for the furtherance of common purpose with accused number 2, transferred and or paid and or caused the transfers of or payment of the amount of 501,000 to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 7th day of April 2026, accused 1 transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 55,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. The estate of the late Makolobe Albert Moeji comprised, among other assets, of a cash balance in the amount of 1,380,901 rands and 50 cents in the above, or the First National Bank account already mentioned. On or about the 8th of April 2026, accused 1 further transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 57,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 9th of April 2026, accused 1 transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 78,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 9th of April 2026, accused 1 transferred and or paid and or caused payments or transfers in the amount of, or for the amount of 30,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 9th of April 2026, and accused 1 transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 10,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 13th of April 2026, accused 1 transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 354,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. On or about the 15th of April 2026, accused 1, acting with common intent and for the furtherance of common purpose with accused number 2, transferred and or paid and or caused the transfer or payment of the amount of 400,000 rands to a bank account other than the one belonging to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji. With regards to count number 6, the state alleges that a portion of the money alleged therein, in that particular account, Your Worship, was paid to a Stokvel bank account to which accused number 2 is a member. The state alleges that the accused used and or appropriated the amount of 1,380,901 rands and 50 cents for purposes other than payments to creditors, as or beneficiaries of the estate of the late Makolobe Albert Moeji. As a result of the accused action, the heirs and or beneficiaries suffered actual prejudice in the amount of 1,380,901 rand and 50 cents. Count number 6, with respect to accused 1 and 2, fraud, read with the provisions of sections 99, 103, 250 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, and further read with section 51 subsection 2 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act 105 of 1997, in that upon about the 7th of April 2026 and at Oniapolokwani in the Regional Division of Limpopo, the accused acting with common intent and for the furtherance of common purpose with each other, did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, gave out and pretend to Mokgadi Andrika Moeji that the payments or money held in the estate account of the late Makolobe Albert Moeji will be paid over to the said Mokgadi Andrika Moeji, and or the accused were entitled and or mandated by the said Andrika Mogadi Moeji to transact on the estate account of her late husband, and or the accused were the account holders of the said estate bank account of the late husband to Mogadi Moeji, and therefore entitled to transact on the said account without the written authorization or without the authorization of the said Mogadi Andrika Moeji. The accused were mandated and or authorized to transfer or cost transfer of the amount of 501,000 from the estate bank account into accounts other than beneficiaries' accounts as or creditors of the said estate, and or that the estate of the late husband her late husband had an obligation to pay out an amount of 501,000 for purposes other than payments to beneficiaries, creditors, or heirs, and did there and then by means of the said false pretenses induce Mogadi Andrika Moeji and to the prejudice of and or potential prejudice of Mogadi Andrika Moeji that the said amount of 501,000 rands would be paid over to her as the sole heir and therefore suffered prejudice. Whereas when the accused so gave out and pretended, they well knew in truth and in fact that the said payments held in the estate bank account of Makulube Albert Moeji will not be paid over to the said Mogadi Andrika Moeji, and or the accused were not authorized and or mandated by Mogadi Moeji to transact on the estate bank account, and or the accused were not the account holders of the said estate bank account of her late husband, and therefore not entitled to transact on the said account without the authorization of the said Mogadi Andrika Moeji. Accused were not mandated and or authorized to transfer or cost transfers of the amount of 501,000 from the estate of the estate bank account into accounts other than the beneficiaries as or creditors accounts. That the estate that the estate of the late husband Mogadi Moeji had no obligation to pay out an amount of 501,000 for purposes other than payments to beneficiaries, creditors, or heirs. Alternative to count number 6, Your Worship, is a count of theft, where the state alleges that accused 1, acting with common intent with accused number 2, stole an amount of 501,000 rands. Your Worship, it's an alternative count number 1. The context is the same. Count number 7, accused 1 and 2. And the state herein alleges that they acted in common purpose.
Seloko ita hlaya nandulo wa n'wina wa vumbirhi sorry wa vusikisi ba ri ka nandulo wun'wana wa vukungundzwani ku hlamusela ku yena Mogadi Andrika Moeji hi tinomboro ta yena ta ti-ID number to helela hi 3084 ba ri i yena mupoti wa nandzu wa xisati loyi a ku ri yena mudyandzhaka ya yena mufi Makulube Albert Moeji la a va tekanini hi xilungu kumbe hi leswi swa ku xa wena i xa mina i xa wena ba ku yena Makulube Albert Moeji u hi siya emisaveni hi ti 13 ta December 2025 ivi a siya ndzhaka ya yena a yi siyela nsati wa yena Mogadi Andrika Moeji u vi a lava loyara ku ri yi ta kota ku fambisa ndzhaka ya yena ya mufu ya nuna wa yena ba ku yena Mogadi Andrika Moeji a ku ri yena mudyandzhaka a ri yexe mudyandzhaka ka nhundzu ya nuna wa yena ivi a kombela muhehliwa wo sungula ku ri ku va yena a n'wi pfunaka hi timhaka to fambisa ndzhaka ya nuna wa yena loyi a nga hi siya misaveni se hi ti 18 ta December 2025 ku vi ku huma papila kumbe mpfumelelo wa ku yena yena Mogadi Andrika Moeji a ku yena u ta hira muhehliwa wo sungula ku ri ku va yena a n'wi pfunaka ka timhaka letiwani ta ku fambisa nhundzu ya nuna wa yena loyi a nga hi siya misaveni ivi impela va tirhisana swin'we ti va timhaka ta ku u pfumelela muhehliwa wo sungula ku ri ku ta va yena a fambisaka nhundzu leyiwani hinkwaswo le ku fikisela a ta n'wi hakela kumbe a ta nyika munhu loyi a nga fanela ku ri ku va yena mudyandzhaka wa nhundzu yona ya leyiwani va ku yena Makulube Albert Moeji a ri na banka ya yena kumbe a banka na banka ya le FNB hi nomboro yo helela hi 8199 ivi va hlamusela ku ri la ya ka banki yona liya ya va ku yena muhehliwa wo sungula u vi a pfula banki ya a pfulela yena Mogadi Andrika Moeji a nga twananangi na yena se va ku yena Makulube Albert Moeji va ri yena nhundzu ya yena kumbe ndzhaka ya mufi leyi a n'wi siyeli yona hinkwayo a yi endla 1,380,000 rand 901 rand 50 cents yi ri ka akhawunti ya FNB kumbe yona First National Bank. Se va ku hi ti 7 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula u vi a ku a tirhisana na muhihliwa wa vumbirhi bona va teka mali va yi rhumela ka akhawunti yin'wana hayi liya ya yena hayi ya yena Mukhayici Enrika va rhumela mali yo ringana 501,000 rand. Ivi hi ti 7 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula a kha a tirhisana na yena muhihliwa wa vumbirhi va vi va rhumela mali yo ringana 55,000 rand eka ka banka yi nga ri ku ya yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi kambe hi ti 8 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula va ri u vi a rhumela mali yo ringana 57,000 rand va ri i nga ri ka banki ya yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi. And then kambe hi ti 9 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula a rhumela mali kambe yo ringana 78,000 rand eka banki yin'wanyana yi leyi nga ri ku ya yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi. Kambe hi ti 9 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula ivi a rhumela mali yin'wana kambe ka akhawunti yin'wanyana yo ka yi nga ri ya yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi leyi ringana ku 30,000 rand. Ivi a tlhela a rhumela hi ti 9 ta April 2026 a rhumela mali yo ringana 10,000 rand na yona a yi nga ri ka banki ya Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi. Kambe hi ti 13 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula a tlhela a rhumela mali eka akhawunti yin'wanyana yo ka yi nga ri ya yena Enrika Mugadi Moyetsi ya 354,000 rand. Ivi hi ti 15 ta April 2026 muhihliwa wo sungula va ku a kha tirhisana na yena muhihliwa wa vumbirhi va vi va transfera mali yo ringana 400,000 rand yi ya ka banki yo ka yi nga ri ya yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi. Ivi va ku eka nandzu loyiwani wa vusikisi va vi va ku va mali yona yaleyo va ri yi nghenisiwini aka xitokofela xa yena muhihliwa wa vumbirhi. Se va ku mali leyi hinkwayo leyi yena Makuluve Albert Moyetsi a nga yi siyela kumbe ndzhaka ya yena leyi a nga yi siyela sati wa yena a yi ringana 1,380,000 rands 901.50 cents. Va ku leswi hi mhaka ya swiendlo swa vona kumbe ku teka mali yona yaleyo kumbe ku rhumeletela timali tona teti va ti rhumela ka tiakhawunti tin'wana swi endli ku ri mudzindzhaka wa mali leyiwani a lova mali leyo ringana 1,380,000 rands 901.50 cents. Se va ku nandzu loyi va hehliwaku hi wona i nandzu wa vukungundwani va ri nandzu wa kona wu endleke hi ti 7 ta April 2026 kwala Apollokwani kwala ka Limpopo. Va ku va te vumbirhi bya vona hi ku tiyimisela a handle ka nawu va kha va tirhisana swin'we ivi va vona va fika va ku hina hi pfumeleriwini ku endla leswi landzelaka. Va ku hina hi pfumeleriwini ku ri hi nga nghena eka ndzhaka ya mufu Makuluve Albert Moyetsi mali leyi hi ta hi hakelela Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi. Va kha va swi tiva ku ri bona a va pfumeleliwangi ku ri vona timali teto ta mufi kumbe ta yena nuna wa yena Mugadi Enrika Moyetsi va ti rhumela ka tiakhawunti tin'wani na ku vona va ku hina hi pfumeleriwini ku fambisa macheleni lamawani hi tlhe hi pfumeleriwa ku ri nga fambisa macheleni o ringana 501,000 rands na yona va ku hi pfumeleriwini ku ri hina hi nga yi transfera ku ve a va swi tiva kahle ku ri a va yisile ka vinyi va ndzhaka. Va ku vona n'winyi wa ndzhaka u va pfumelerini ku ri vona va fane va fambisa mali yona yaleyo yo ringana 501,000 rands ene vona va hemba va ku va ta hakela vinyi va ndzhaka. Va ku se hi va vi vona va ku hi ku hemba na ku ka va nga vulavuli ntiyiso va ku mali yaleyo hi yisa ka n'winyi wa mali hi vula yena mudyi wa ndzhaka ku ve va kha va swi tiva ku ri a hi swona. Se hi ku endla sweswo swa ku teka mali yo ringana 501,000 rand va yisa laha yi fanela ku yi nga yangi kona. N'winyi wa mali yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi u vi a lova mali yo ringana 501,000 rand. Leswi swi endliwaku hi mhaka ku bona va hehliwa va yini kwele va fika va ti endlisa kumbe va vulavula vunwa va ku mali yaleyo hina hi ta n'wi hakela yona va kha va swi tiva kahle ku ri a va pfumeleriwangi vona ku ri va fambisa mali ya mufi handle ka n'winyi wa mudzindzaka hi vula yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi. Ivi se va hlamusela timhaka ta ku va tlhe va hlamusela lama hetelelweni ku ri se vona va vi va hehliwa hi nandzu wona waloyo wa vukungundwani va ku loko ko nyikiwa vumbhoni lebyi byi nga ta ku loko byi humelela mahlweni ka huvo byi nga hlamuseli kumbe byi nga kombi ku ri hi mpelampela vanhu lava va endli nandzu wa vukungundwani kambe byi hlamusela ku ri va yivini na kwalano va nga voniwa nandzu wo yiva va ku hi ti 7 ta April 2026 kwala a Polokwane vumbirhi bya vona va kha va tirhisana va nga voni va kha va tirhisa swin'we va tirhisana swin'we va viva ku a handle ka nawu na ku tiyimisela va yiva mali yo ringana 501,000 rands inga mali ya yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi. Va tiyimiseli ku n'wi tekela mali ya yena ku fikisela va nga ha tlheli va n'wi nyika.
Count number 7 with respect to accused 1 and 2, fraud. Read with the provisions of sections 99, 103, 250, and 250 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, and further read with section 51, subsection 2 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act 105 of 1997. In that, upon about the 15th April 2026, and at Onia Polokwane, in the regional division of Limpopo, the accused, acting with common intent and for the furtherance of common purpose with each other, did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, give out and pretend to Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi that the payments held in the estate account of the late Albert Moyetsi will be paid over to the said Mokgadi Moyetsi, and or the accused were authorized and or mandated by Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi to transact on the estate account of a late husband, and or the accused were the account holders of the said estate account of the late husband of Mokgadi Moyetsi, and therefore entitled to transact on the said account without the authorization of the said Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi, and or the accused were mandated and or authorized to transfer or cost the transfer of the amount of 400,000 rands from the estate bank account into accounts or bank accounts other than the beneficiaries as or creditors' bank accounts linked to the said estate, and did there and then, by means of the said false pretenses, induce Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi and to the prejudice of and or potential prejudice of Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi that the said amount of 400,000 rands will be paid over to her as the sole heir of the estate and therefore suffered prejudice. Whereas when the accused gave gave out and pretended, they well knew in truth and in fact that the payments held in the estate bank account of the late Makolobe Albert Moyetsi will not be paid over to the said Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi, and or the accused were not authorized and or mandated by the said Mokgadi Moyetsi to transact on the estate bank account of a late husband, and or the accused were not the account holders of the said estate bank account, and therefore not entitled to transact without the authorization of Mokgadi Moyetsi, and the accused were not mandated and authorized to transfer or cause the transfer of the amount of 400,000 rands from the estate bank account into accounts other than the beneficiaries as or creditors of the said estate, and or the estate of the late husband of her late husband had no obligation to pay out an amount of 400,000 rands for purposes other than the payments to beneficiaries, creditors, or heirs. Alternative to count number 7, Your Worship, is an account of it's a count of theft. The context is the same.
Se loko a hlaya nandzu wa vu7 na ka nandzu lowuwana wa vu7 na wona u hlamusela timhaka ta ku i nandzu wa vukungundwani va ri wu endleke hi ti 15 ta April 2026 kwala a Polokwane va ku va hehliwa va vi va tirha swin'we vumbirhi bya vona va ku a handle ka nawu va na ku tiyimisela va ku bona va endla vukungundwani ya ku va endla vukungundwani ka ku tekela mali yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetsi ba vulavula vunwa va ku vona va ta hakela ndzhaka ya yena mufi Makuluve Albert Moyetji va yi hakela yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji va kha va swi tiva kahle ku ri vona a va pfumeleliwangi ku ri vona va nga teka rifa ra yena Makuluve Albert Moyetji va ku va hihliwa a va swi tiva kahle ku ri mali leyiwani yi nga le ka ndzhaka ya yena mufi kumbe ya yena nuna wa yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji a va pfumeleliwangi ku ri vona va nga fane va yi rhumela ka ti-akhawunti tin'wani handle ka leti ta yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji. Se va ku vona va hihliwa a va swi tiva kahle ku ri a va pfumeleliwangi na ku vona va fanele ku ri va nga yisa mali kumbe ku rhumela 400,000 rands ya yena mufi kumbe ya yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji nje hi mudyandzhaka wa mufi a va nga pfumeleliwangi ku ri mali yaleyo va nga yi rhumela ka tiakhawunti tin'wanyani handle ka leti ta yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji. Se va ku ivile na yena nuna wa yena a swi nga fanelangi ku ri va ku mali ya nuna wa yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji yi fane yi hakela ka akhawunti yin'wanyani handle ka leyi vona va nga va nyika yona. Se va ku vona vumbirhi bya vona a va swi tiva kahle ku ri leswi va swi endlaku a hi ntiyiso ene va swi tiva kahle ku ri mali leyi va nga yi humesa va yi rhumela lava nga yi rhumela kona a va nga yi n'wi hakeli yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji a va pfumeleliwangi ku ri va teka mali yaleyo va yisa ka akhawunti yin'wani handle ka ya Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji ivile nakona xin'wani a va nga pfumeleriwangi ku ri vona va nga teka rifa ra yena Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji leri a nga siyeriwa hi nuna wa yena. Se va ku va hihliwa na ku va teka mali ya ya 400,000 rands a va swi tiva kahle ku ri a va pfumeleriwangi ku ri va nga transfera mali yaleyo. Va ku nandzu wun'wanyani wo landzela kumbexani lowu mi nga voniwa ku nandzu eka wona hi lowo yiva. Se va ku timhaka ta kona ti fambisana na nandzu luwa wa vukungundwani hi nge hi tihlayi.
Your Worship, the state would lead evidence with respect to these charges during the bail application to show the court as to how the accused acted in common purpose, and particularly with the recent charge, what or where is this 400,000 rands derived, and how does it link accused number 4? What did it pay? That, I mean, number 2, Your Worship, what did it pay belonging to either accused 1 or accused 2?
Se muchuchisi aku hina hi ta nyika vumbhoni loko swi ta ka nandzu lowuwani wa vu 7 ku ri ta kota ku hlamusela huvo ku ri eka nandzu lowuwani wa vu 7 laha ku vulavuriwaka ku ri ku vi va rhumela 400,000 rands yaleyo va yi rhumela ka akhawunti yin'wanyani ku ri wu fambelana njhani kumbe wu nghenisa njhani muhehliwa wa vumbirhi eka nandzu wona walowo u yi hakeleliwi yini mali yona yaleyo.
Counts 8 to 13 are only in respect of accused number 1.
Bakuna milandzu yo suka ka 8 ku fika ka 13 ya yena muhehliwa wo sungula.
Your Worship, it's charges of fraud directed with the provisions of sections 99, 103, and 250 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, in that upon about the dates as mentioned in column 2 of Schedule A, which forms part of this charge sheet, Your Worship, and at Onia Polokwane, in the regional division of Limpopo, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, give out and pretend to Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji that the payments held in the estate bank account of the late Makuluve Albert Moyetji will be paid over to the said Hendrika Moyetji, and or accused was authorized or mandated by Mokgadi Moyetji to transact on the estate bank account. The accused was the account holder of the said estate bank account of a late husband, and therefore entitled to transact on the said bank account without the authorization of Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji. Accused was mandated and authorized to transfer or cause transfers of the amounts of money mentioned in column 3 of Schedule A from the estate into accounts other than beneficiaries or heirs or creditors of the said estate, and or the estate of the late husband of the complainant had an obligation to pay out the amounts mentioned in column 3 of Schedule A for the purposes other than payments to beneficiaries, creditors, or heirs, and did there and there by means of the said false pretenses, induce Mokgadi Hendrika Moyetji, and to the prejudice of and or potential prejudice of Hendrika Moyetji, that the amounts mentioned in column 4 of the said Schedule A would be paid over to her as the sole heir of the estate and therefore suffered prejudice. Whereas when the accused so gave out and pretended, they knew well in truth and in fact that the payments held or the money held in the estate bank account of Makolove Albert Muechi will not be paid over to the said Andrika Muechi, and or the accused was not authorized or mandated by Mokhadi Andrika Muechi to transact on the estate bank account of her late husband, and or the accused was not the account holder of the said estate bank account and therefore not entitled to transact on the said account without the authorization of Mokhadi Andrika Muechi. The accused was not mandated and authorized and or to transfer or cause transfers of the amounts mentioned in column 3 of Schedule A from the estate bank account into accounts other than the creditors as or beneficiaries of the said estate, that the estate of the late husband, of her late husband, had no obligation to pay an amount mentioned in column 3 of Schedule A for purposes other than payments of such amounts to beneficiaries. Your Worship, the alternative to counts 8 to 13 is charges of theft, which the context is the same to the main counts of fraud. Your Worship, with regard to count number 8, the state alleges that it was committed on the 7th of April 2026 regarding an amount of 55,000 rands, which is actual prejudice. Count number 9 was committed on the 8th of April 2026 regarding an amount of 57,000 rands, actual prejudice. Count number 10, 9 April 2026, 78,000 rands, actual prejudice. 9th April again, 30,000 rands, actual prejudice. 12th April 2026, 10,000 rands, actual prejudice. 13 April 2026, 354,000 rands, actual prejudice. Your Worship, the total actual prejudice in counts 8 to 13 is 584,000 rands. And further that, Your Worship, count number 6 constitutes actual prejudice. Count number 7 is also actual prejudice suffered by Mokhadi Andrika Muechi, who was the sole heir to the estate of her late husband. With the leave of court, may I kindly hand you the charge.
Se bahlaya milandzu unandzu wabu 8 bakunandzu wabu 8 kufika kwa wabu 13 yiqondani na wena mwihliwa wa busungula milandzu ya kona ya hafana na yona liya nga hihlamusela timhaka ta ku va ri wena u endla nandzu wa vukungundzwani uvi u hemba kumbe u vulavula vunwa ehandleni ka nawu u ku wena Mokhadi Andrika kumbe u ku Mokhadi Andrika Muechi uvi a ku pfumelela ku ri wena u nga va munhu loyiwani u fambisaku mali leyiwani kumbe u rhumelaku mali leyiwani ya yena leyi nga hlamuseliwa ku ya laya yi nga ta yi hlaya ndzhakunyana u ku pfumelerini kumbe ku nyike mpfumelelo wa ku wena u nga yi susa mali liya ya yena ya ndzhaka u yisa ka tiakhawunti tona teti va ti hlayaku kwalaniwani kuve u swi tiva kahle ku ri munhu yaloyo a nga zangi a ku pfumelela ku ri u endla swilo sweswo u nga swi endla swa vukungundzwani swa ku fambisa timali ta yena ehandleni ka mpfumelelo wa yena. Se va ku milandzu leyiwani leyi landzelaku wa vu 8 9 na wa vu 10 wa vu 11 wa vu 12 13 wa vu 8 va ri humeleli hi ti 7 ta April 2026 laha u nga rhumela 55,000 rand nakona u nga pfumeleliwangi ku ri swi endla sweswo. And then wa vu 8 April 2026 nakona kwalano a nga pfumeleliwangi ku transfera mali yaleyo yo ringana 57,000 rands. And then wa vu 10 ti 9 ta April 2026 u transferi 17 kumbe ku rhumela 78,000 rands na yona a u nga pfumeleriwangi ku nga yi rhumela ka a banka yin'wanyana handle ka yena Mokhadi Andrika Muechi. Wa vu 11 9 April 2026 va ri transferi 30,000 rands. And then wa vu 12 ti 9 ta April 2026 u transfera 10,000 rands. And then wa vu 13 ti 13 ta April 2026 u transfera 354,000 rands. Va ri mali leyi hinkwayo leyi a nga yi lova yena Mokhadi Andrika Muechi a nga lova rifa ra nuna wa yena i 584. Swi fana na milandzu na nandzu loya wa vu 6 na wa vu 7 kwalano va ri u lovi timali ta yena. A ku ni ta nyika vumbhoni ni ta kombisa ku ri timhaka leti ti fambafambi njhani loko hi kha hi yisa mahlweni kha hi endla xikombelo xa bail.
And Your Worship, the total actual prejudice contained in counts 6 to 13 it's a total inclusive amount in all the charges of 1,380,000 rands, 901 rand and 50 cents. It's 1,380,000 rands, 380,901 and 50 cents.
Se va ku kahle kahle mali leyi hinkwayo loko hi hlanganisa milandzu leyiwani leyi a nga lahlekeriwa hi yona i 1,380,000 rands 901.50 cents.
Yes, State, that being so, that additional charges have been added to the current charges for which bail application was in progress. Are you in a position to address whether the accused is still facing the Schedule 5 and or if the schedule has changed? What is the position so that we can take the process going forward?
Your Worship, as things stand, it's still Schedule 5.
Thank you. Still Schedule 5?
Correct, so Your Worship. And perhaps further investigations, if this bail application gets to take longer, may reveal something that other things. But as things stand, it's Schedule 5, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Correct, Your Worship.
Yena mchuchisi a ku ri nandzu wa n'wina wa ha wela ka yona Schedule 5 swo vula ku i milandzu leyikulu loko ku ri kutani va na swin'wanyana leswi nga ta cinca loko hi kha hi yisa mahlweni hi kha hi endla mi kha mi endla xikombelo xa n'wina xa bail u ta hlamusela mara ka nkarhi wa wona wa loyiwani u hlamusela ku ri nandzu wa n'wina wa ha ri ku halayaka na wona wa luya.
Mr. Maluleke, I think it could be your turn now to address the court on the process as to how the court proceed going forward.
Your Worship, I've consulted both applicants before court, and the intention is to still proceed with the bail application. We had agreed with my colleagues that they will proceed to lead evidence with regard to the witness that's already on the stand, and subsequent thereto, just to afford the applicants an opportunity to deal with the added charges, we'll at a later stage bring an application to reopen the submission of bail application for 1 and 2 in view of the obvious fact that there are now new charges that obviously could not have been dealt with at the time of submitting the application, Your Worship. So for purposes of today, we wish to proceed. We agreed, but my colleague can confirm that he proceed with his witness, and as soon as the state is done pleading evidence with respect to all its witnesses, then we will obviously be afforded an opportunity to deal with the issues that have emanated. But for the sake of progress, it's better to proceed, Your Worship.
The witness may stand up. Full names, Hannah?
Utiki Daniel Mapua.
Hannah, do you have any objection in taking a prescribed oath?
No.
Will you take the prescribed oath to be binding at your conscience?
Correct.
You may raise up your right hand and swear so help me God.
So help me God.
As we also talked, as I said yesterday, still apply today. If you feel you would like to testify while seated, there's a chair there, you can just bend your microphone.
Yes, the court raises.
Thank you. State.
Thank you, Your Worship. Colonel, the state has just added charges to the accused persons. And during your testimony, you informed the Honorable Court that there is a likelihood that these accused persons, should they be released on bail, will commit further offenses. Now, the offenses that were the charges that were added to the accused persons were committed in 2026 after the investigations were incepted sometime in 2024. What is your comment?
That's correct, Your Worship. What I can tell the court that is that during the initial investigations, we only dealt with 2 files in reference to Ms. Marsha and Matawat. it happens that worship during the month of November, I was promoted to Polokwane Palabora office, where I had to now have to hand over the dockets to my subordinates or my superiors to dish it to the subordinates to furthering the investigation. It is unfortunate that I could not deal with this investigation in reference to the new charges that have been added before this court. So I wouldn't dwell much on the charges that have been put before this court. Thank you, Worship.
Se lokuri yena mchichi se abutisa loko abutisa yena phorisa kumbe yena colonel swivutiso aku colonel mi ta swi tsundzuka kumbe mi swi twini ku ri ku na milandzu leyi nga ngeteleriwa la mahlweni ka huvo a henhleni ka vona va hehliwa. So loko n'wina mi kha mi nyika vumbhoni mi ve mi hlamusela ku ri vahehliwa lavawani loko vo chichiwa vo nyikiwa xikombelo xa vona xa bail loko xo mukeriwa i vanhu lava va nga ta yisa mahlweni va endla milandzu yin'wana. A ku mi ta swi tsundzuka ku ri milandzu leyiwani hi nga yi hlaya namuntlha i milandzu leyi nga humbengete yi humeleli hi 2026 ene loko hi languta vulavisisi se a byi sungurini hi ku mi sungule hi 2024 ivi se a ku i ntiyiso sweswo. Mina a ni loko ni endla vulavisisi bya mina a ni nyikiwe tifayili timbirhi ya ka Masha ya ka Mathabata ivi hi November ni vi ni promotiwa kumbe ni yisiwa henhla ni nyikuma poso ya le henhla ni ya kwele a Phalaborwa la ni nga teka tifayili letiya ta mina kumbe tidokete ta mina ni vi ni nyika vakulukumba va mina ku ri va ta nyika lava va nga sala ku ri va ta kota ku yisa mahlweni na ntirho. Loko swi ta ka milandzu leyintshwa ni nge tivi nchumu ngopfu eka yona.
I want to put it on the record to say that though I was moved to Palabora office, the office of Palabora and Polokwane, they are still under the same umbrella of the directorate. And I was every now and then engaging with the members that were hands-on on the matter, specifically Constable Tobejan. And to add on that, I would put it on record to say that even today, there is more victims that are still calling me to say that, Colonel, we're coming forward with the information. And I can put it to the record to say that there is more arrests that still need to be done on this matter.
Evi akuna hambi mina nisukini ni ya kwele a Phalaborwa kambe hina hi tirha a hansi ka kulukumba wun'we ene xin'wana xa vumbirhi mina na hambi ni fambini a ni vulavurisana na vatirhakuloni va mina lava tirhaka na nandzu loyiwani ngopfungopfu loyi ve nge hi yena Thobejani. Loko ni ta mi byela ka ha ri na timbhoni kumbe varili vapoti va ni milandzu vo tala lava nge hina vumbhoni byo karhi a ku xin'wana lexi nga ta mi tivisa xona i ku ka ha ta khomiwa vanhu vo tala.
It is your testimony, Kenneth, that the accused was informed sometime in 2024 that she is being investigated or investigations are ongoing with regard to this particular matter.
That's correct.
Ako intiyiso ku ri muhehliwa hi 2024 u vi ya tivisiwa ku ri va endla vulavisisi ehenhleni ka wena. Ako intiyiso.
Specifically, that was done by myself as accused number 1 visited my office, whereby I engaged my superiors and the whole of the team, whereby we had an engagement. And she was informed that an inquiry has been registered and an investigation is ongoing.
Aku sweswo ibile u tivisiwe hi mina muhehliwa wo sungula hi ku u vi ata ofisini ya mina aku ula ku hi vona se mina ni vi byela vakulukumba na va hina hinkwavo lava hi tirhisanaka na vona ni n'wi byela ku ri ku endliwa vulavisisi ehenhleni ka wena va yisa mahlweni na vulavisisi.
So the accused went on to commit the offenses referred to in the charge sheet as count 6 to 13 in 2026, despite you just letting her know that she's being investigated.
Oh, okay. Ebe se aku xivutiso lexi xivutisaka aku se loko ri yena muhehliwa u vi a yisa mahlweni na ku endla milandzu a kha swi tiva ku ri va le ku va endla vulavisisi ehenhleni ka yena hi vula milandzu leyiwani yo suka ka 6 ku fika ka yona 13 hi mhaka ku ve ri yi humelele hi 2026.
Yes.
Your Worship, I wish to object to this line of questioning on the basis that the state is now inferring that indeed the accused has committed this offense. Your Worship, we are still on the bail stage at this moment in time. There's still an allegation that is being leveled against the accused. It is still to be proven by the trial court whether there were some offenses that were committed post any kind of conversation, Your Worship, and I wish the state to reconsider that position, Your Worship.
State, I think the concerns of the defense counsel is that the charges are still allegations because the trial on the merits of the charges are not as yet finalized to an extent that a verdict may have been delivered. Perhaps you can put them as allegations, not as the accused has committed. It's as if she has been convicted. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Evise gqwetha ra ba hihliwa ri tlakuka ri kwa xivutiso xexo a xi tshamangi kahle hi mhaka ku sweswiwani ha ri ka xiyenge lexiya xa ku kombela beyili sweswiwani ya ha ri mavarivari se wena u swi vulavula u nga ku vanhu lavawani se va voniwe nandzu sweswo swi hi ta swi tiva loko ku tengiwa nandzu se a hi kombela ku loko u vutisa xivutiso xexi xa wena u xi veketela kahle ku vona yona hi ku muchuchisi ni hleketa nga ku gqwetha ra va hihliwa ri vulavula ku ri hi ku hi mpelampela a ku se za ku nyikiwa xiboho kumbe va hlamusela ku va hihliwa va na nandzu kumbe a va na nandzu a hi ta ku wo i mavarivari kumbe va va hehla hi ku va endli swo karhi.
Colonel, let's add the word alleged. The accused committed the offenses alleged in the charge sheet as counts 6 to 13, despite you informing her that investigations are ongoing in this matter.
Yes, Worship, that's true, and I can believe to say that they did that because during my testimony of yesterday, you did mention to say that accused number 1 is earning 80,000 rand, and accused number 2 is earning 31,000 rand. So, when you're combining the two salaries, looking at the lifestyle of the two accused, I would say they wanted to maintain their lifestyle. And by maintaining their lifestyle is to go back and make sure that they steal from the files.
I think defense is still allegation. It's not a conclusion.
Indeed, sir.
Thank you. It's not a conclusion and
Yes.
it's bail application.
Yes, and it's speculation from his side.
Yes.
He's not going to
When
be
you
able to-
cross-examine him, you
Yes,
will deal with it.
you will deal with him on that.
Thank you. Advocate, you can proceed.
Se
Thank you,
ivi
Your
ya
Worship.
hlamusela ku ri hi ri vahehliwa lava vambirhi ku na mavarivari a ku va endli milandzu leyiwani yo suka ka 6 ku ya ka 13 va kha va swi tiva ku ri vulavisisi byi ya mahlweni a ku i ntiyiso switano u ta swi hleketa ku ri tolo u ni byeri ku ri muhehliwa wo sungula u hola 80,000 rands wa vumbirhi u hola 31,000 rands so miholo ya vona loko yi hlanganile vumbirhi bya vona a yi nge koti ku fikelela vutomi lebyi vona va byi hanyaku se ni twisisa ku ri va ta kota ku yisa mahlweni na vutomi lebyi vona va byi hanyaku va fanele ku ri va tlhelela ndzhaku va ya yiva kwele ka tifayili.
Have you ever, during the investigations of this case, had interactions with accused number 2?
Like I said to say that she visited our office.
Accused number 2.
Accused number 2, oh. Yes, Worship, accused number 2, at some point, it did make the call to my state cell phone.
Va ku muhehliwa wa vumbirhi u ze u tikuma u kha u vulavurisana na yena na a ku na hleketa ku na nkarhi wun'wanyana a nga ni fowunela eka foni ya mina ya ntirho.
Accused number 2, he did introduce himself to me. I did as I introduced to him, and then he wanted to come and see me as well. What I said to the accused to say that I was with your wife at the office. We discussed the matter as he wanted to come and discuss the matter in relation to the purchase of the Mercedes-Benz at Vulnerable Pretoria. Then I said, I'm not going to allow such meeting because I already had a meeting with your wife. And the things that I told your wife is the same things that I'm going to tell you. And prior accused number 2 making a call to me, there was another person who called me, who is a police official working at National Intervention Unit in Pretoria by the name of Mr. Nonyane, or by then he was Sergeant Nonyane. After meeting accused number 1 at the office, I think 2 days, 3 days later, I get a call from Sergeant Nonyane requesting same meeting, same of accused number 1. After the call by Sergeant Nonyane, then I get called by accused number 2. Same proposing such meeting. Then I did not allow such to happen, to say that everything they can be referred to, it can refer to my answers to accused number 1 as to what was the outcome of the meeting.
Okay. Ebise ahlamsela ku ri intiyiso moyehliwa wa vumbirhi u vi a ni fowunela loko a ni fowunela a ku la ku ni vona u la ku vulavula na mina hi mhaka ya ku xaviwa ka movha ya Mercedes Benz le a Vanderbom a Pitori ivi mina ni n'wi byela ku ri va ku eka ndzhaku ka loko ni vona ni na nsati wa yena se me ni n'wi byela ku ri a ku kahle kahle a nga siza a ni fowunela yena munhehliwa wa vumbirhi ni vi ni fowuneriwa hi munhu un'wanyani a ti tivisa ku ri yena Sergeant Nonyane na yena a kombela ku ri u la ku hlangana na mina hi ta vulavula hi timhaka letiwani ivi na ni alana na yena ivi kusuka kwalano loko ni fowuneriwini hi loyiwani wo sungula Sergeant Nonyane ivi ni ta fowuneliwa hi yena muhehliwa wa vumbirhi loko a ni fowunela a ku kombela ku ri u lava ku va na nhlangano na mina hi ta vulavula hi timhaka ta nandzu loyiwani ni n'wi byela kahle ku ri nsati wa wena se u tini mina na yena hi vulavurisini loko ku lava loko ku ri na swivutiso u lava u lava tinhlamulo vutisa nsati wa wena kumbe vulavula na nsati wa wena u ta ku hlamula a na ha lavi ku vulavula hi mhaka leyiwani.
That's not the only interaction with accused number 2, worship.
Hi laha ni nga vulavula na yena muhehliwa wa vumbirhi kona.
Did accused number 2 indicate or divulge the reasons for the request for such a meeting?
Of course, yes. It was in relation to the purchase of the Mercedes Benz at Vulnerable in Pretoria.
U hlamuserini ku ri hikwalaho ka yini a lava ku ni vona hi mhaka movha leyi nga xaviwa le ka Mercedes Benz a Pretoria.
And this was after investigations had started.
Long time.
Va ku khale vulavisisi byi sungurini.
What is your view, if you have any, to this question? Is that not interference with investigations?
Worship, this is a clear interference with the investigation. Hence, I've indicated that not only accused number 2 who called me, there was another sergeant who called me as well. However, that information, it will be divulged during the trial in terms of the records that will be obtained from the network service providers.
Sweswo ku fowunela ka yena a wu voni nga ku endla vukanganyisi loko swi ta ka timhaka ta ku endla vulavisisi eka nandzu loyiwani a ku sweswo swo va rivaleni munhu yaloyo u endla vukanganyisi ka timhaka ta ku endla vulavisisi hikuva a ni fowuneliwangi hi yena muhehliwa wa vumbirhi ntsena na sergeant na yena u ni fowunerini kambe hi nge ngheni ngopfu ka mhaka yona yaleyo hi ta swi vulavula siku leri ku nga ta va ku kha ku tengiwa nandzu hi ta va hi nyika na vumbhoni ku ya hi tifonu tirekhodo ta kona hi ta ti humelerisa.
Now, Colonel, accused number 2, did actually give you a call. Where did he get your contact? If I may clarify.
It's a common cause that since I replied on an email that was sent by accused number 1, the email that contains the signature card at the bottom, which contains all my details. This accused before the court, they are married. It's a likelihood that you would have obtained such numbers from accused number 1.
Ebise va ku muhehliwa wa vumbirhi u ku fowunerini kambe tifoni number ta wena u ti kumi kwihi a ku ku vi na email leyi ni nga rhumeriwa hi muhehliwa wo sungula loko ni yi hlamula email liya yi vi yi fambisa yi na vuxokoxoko bya mina swilo swo fana na tifoni number lava mbirhi mi ta tsundzuka ku va tekanini se swo va rivaleni ku ri a nga va ti kumi ka yena muhehliwa wo sungula.
Sergeant Nonyane, that contact you said it's Sergeant Nonyane?
Nonyane.
Nonyane, that the person who contacted you,
Is the court please?
did he or she divulge his or her relationship to accused persons before court? And what was the reason for him calling you, and the basis of the call at large?
As the court pleases.
Outline.
When I received the call from the said person who called, it reflects on a true caller, the full names, before the person can even introduce himself. Then when I pick up the line, I introduce myself, and then he did introduce himself, saying that he's the brother of accused number 2. And then we went further as to telling me as to the purpose of the call. I told him that straight to say that since you are the police, as he introduced to me, you must make sure that when you come to Polokwane to come and see me, you must draw a line. Either you come in to assist the investigation, or you're coming as part of the accused persons. Then we went as far as discussing the marriage, which were on the public space, that he was part of the accused marriage. And I can't recall some other things that we spoke about. But what I can recall is that if you come to see me, you must send me a formal request through your superiors. And what I will do is, when you come to the office, I will take you to the boardroom, same as I did with your sister-in-law. Then he said, Colonel, you know what? I'm not going to involve myself in such. I'm pulling back. That was how we discussed.
Aku se phorisa rero ri nga kombi kumbe munhu yaloye a nga ku fonela aku hi yena sergeant u te hi yena sergeant mani ivi aku u te hi yena sergeant Nyoni aku se u vi aku byela ku ri i yini na vanhu na vahehliwa na ku u ku fonelela yini ivi se aku loko ni phone loko phone yi rila yivi yi komba laya leswi swa xilungu swo komba ku na hambi u nga siza u nga ri na tinomboro ta munhu yi tsala laya ku i mani aku yivi yi ni tsalela laya ku ri i mani ni nga siza ni yi khoma, and then loko se ni yi khoma phone liya ivi a ti tivisa na mina ni ti tivisa ivi a ni byela ku ri hi mina buti wa muhehliwa wo sungula ivi se a ni byela na ku ri u ni fonelela mayelana na yini ivi ni n'wi byela kahle ku ri leswi u nga phorisa u swi tivaku kahle loko ku ri u ta ka mina wena u fanele u ta ka mina hi timhaka teto to u lava ku vulavula hi buti wa wena kumbe u ta hi timhaka ta ntirho na ivi xin'wana a yisa mahlweni se a sungula ku vulavula hi mhaka ya mucato wa lava vambirhi aku a ni ri kona ka mucato wa lava vambirhi ivi se ni n'wi byela ku loko u lava ku vonana na mina swi lava u endla xikombelo hi ximfumo u xi endla u swi suka ka vakulukumba va wena xi ta ka vakulukumba va mina ene u swi tiva ku ri loko u fika laya hi ya a boardroom ni hi ya na van'wana na mina ta tivisa vakulukumba va mina hi ya tshama laya ku ya u ya vulavula leswi swi lavaku a ku ye loko swi ri tano mina na tshika timhaka letiwani a na ha tingeni.
Now, just a moment. He said, Nyoni said he's a brother to who?
Accused number 2.
Thank you, Ship. Now, you mentioned Truecaller, that even before the person can introduce themselves, you can see their names or something. And, do you have proof to the effect that those people, their names were appearing on that Truecaller issue thing?
Yes, I did manage to print them. Unfortunately, I left them at the office, Worship, based on the discussion that we had with the council yesterday. But they can make available if the court is in need of such. Not too sure if the council is still having the copies that we handed to him yesterday.
Just a second, Your Worship, may kindly be afforded an opportunity to look at.
ivi se ya hlamusela timhaka ta ku loko u ku munhu swa koteka ku ri hi phone hi leswi ya mi swi vitanaka ku ri hi yona true caller munhu wa kota ku vona mavito ya munhu na hambi phone number ya munhu yaloyo u nga yi nghenisangi endzeni ka foni ya wena se u na vumbhoni na byo komba ku hi mpelampela mavito wona lawo a kha humelela eka foni ya wena a ku ni swi printini ko va ku a ni tangi na swona namuntlha hi mhaka ya ku hi vi hi va na leswi hi nga vulavurisa swona hi nga vulavula na swona na yena nkulukumba kumbe vona va mfumo.
So the names of accused number 2 were appearing, the names of Nyoni were appearing, and what about accused number 1 at the time?
All the calls that I received from the accused before this court, they were clearly visible before my cell phone. Even the said surgeon that I did indicated, it was clear visible.
Ivi se aku hinkwawo mavito ya vanhu lava nga ni fowunela mihluva wo sungula wa vumbirhi na yena sergeant yona yaleyo mavito ya vona a humelela kahle laya eka foni ya mina.
Now, Colonel, Your Worship, I'm informed to that time factor.
Worship.
It seems you have many times because even today we started after and we have to proceed until 4. The time is almost there. You will bear with us. This is very important. You have to continue to assist us with the evidence that you are basically. Yes, what is the position?
Your Worship, may the matter be posted.
Let me start here. Tomorrow, I've got a formal inquest hearing in this establishment. One of the witnesses is coming from Cape Town as well. So unfortunately, the previous one is coming from there. So we'll start with this inquest in the morning so that in whatever arrangements you make for the court to proceed, you must know I do have such engagement. I don't know what I need to conclude or it may take care of.
Friday, after 2. Your Worship, may at least it be made or we agree at least on 12:30 or at least 12 o'clock. Then any time thereafter we'll just be here, and then if the court finishes earlier, then we'll request to start, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. Subject to.
But I'm not going to commit myself to the time because if it's formal inquest, it means there will be evidence and cross-examination. So we can't cut the parties to finish earlier simply because there's another matter. They are equally important.
As the court pleases.
However,
It's just a
I'll
suggestion.
postpone it for tomorrow. You will interact with me. It will be using the same court.
Thank
so
you.
if we are finished earlier, then you will be able to know what done.
Thanks, Your Worship.
Yes.
Your Worship, I just have an added request to that situation that perhaps if we are being realistic to the proceedings, the state intends to call a further witness, so I understand. We obviously also intend to reopen our case to deal with the new developments. That perhaps we also agree that the matter will also be heard, should it not complete tomorrow on Friday, so that my colleague does not commit himself to other matters, and that we know for a fact that we still have an opportunity for the continuation of this matter on Friday. I, however, have a challenge when it comes to should it run to Monday. My challenge being that I have a partly a trial in the High Court in Johannesburg, which is resuming on the 31st. And should we foresee any possibility of running until then, I wish to be afforded an opportunity to consult my client that I represent on that particular matter to establish, we do have a senior counsel there, to establish if counsel will be available on that date, so as to enable me to attend to this matter. In order for me to do so, unfortunately I will have to travel, and the proposal of 12:30 might not be sufficient for me to cater to such issues. And I was suggesting at the very least 1:30. This will end tomorrow. I mean, for purpose of tomorrow's proceedings, if the court is available much earlier, can we agree from 1:30 going forward, so as to enable me an opportunity to resolve the issues of Monday should we not be done by that time. I'm saying this because I had my colleague proposing that should it be that the court be available around 12, the matter can start, and that might pose a challenge for me because I'm trying to plan ahead so that I cover for Monday in the event that we're here also on Monday.
I understand what you're saying. I also need to say, I'll give you a chance. I also need to say something that this court has got many cases, including cases for bail application, not only this one.
Yes.
Similarly, so as I'm saying that we've got an inquest hearing which has been scheduled before time, for which witnesses are traveling from afar, and that the times that have been made available for the parties to actually take a recreational break and or lunch or tea, I would not like to interfere or tamper with that.
Yes.
Because amongst us there are elderly people who even take medication after they have their meal. And if we have to force them to be here at 1:30, it will be unfair to everyone. Perhaps what I would say is that if you will not be available, because I'm not saying that I will be available at 12, if you will not be available for that time before lunch, let's commence at 14 hours. Let us not interfere with anybody's time.
No, Your Worship, I was not suggesting we start at 1:30. I was saying anything from there going forward. That can be at 2 o'clock. I just needed an opportunity to resolve some other issues that may develop next week, Your Worship.
And let me also hear the commitment. The captain is still
The kennel.
Colonel, sorry to
As the
be
court
more
pleases.
I'm sorry to be more to my talk. Colonel, you raised your hand.
Thank you, Worship. I just noticed a trend to say that when the state and the council, when they arrange a date, they don't consider the witness that is on the stand if he has got other commitments elsewhere or other things that needs to be done, but the date just get arranged.
And matter get postponed without getting the sight of the witnesses as to whether will he able to come the next day or on that particular day when it's been set. So I would suggest that I should be consulted, because I'm running a unit where I'm coming from, and there is things that they need my attention that I need to deal with, and I would bring it to this court to say that I was in the panel of the interviews that are in progress, and I since kept them waiting to say that I would finish with the court and then I'll continue with them. So even now they are still waiting to hear from me as to what is my position.
A live consultation. He is saying that you should have been consulted due to the commitments that he had. Can you do the live consultation now? Whether the colonel will be available for tomorrow's proceedings, or what is the position?
Your Worship, if it's not available,
Can I just be afforded? Can I just be afforded like a 5 minutes to stand down this matter so that I can make a call, and then I'll come with an informed decision as to whether I will be available tomorrow or not.
Okay. I would rather say make a call outside. Let us not adjourn because we are almost off.
As the court
And
pleases.
then we will get back to it.
Your Worship might also kindly engage my colleague.
Yes, yes, you can make it. panel, I gave you an opportunity to go and make a call, and now you can address us.
As the court pleases. Yes, indeed, I did. There's one of my colleagues who just followed me to say that they've started with the processes, and they got an instruction to say that I can be excused, meaning that they can set the date for tomorrow. I'm available.
Thank you. Thank you. The date for tomorrow has now been successful.
As the court pleases. Your worship may then be postponed to tomorrow 14 hours, and then we'll just be around.
I would just advise both you and the defense counsel to the accused to monitor the happenings will be in this courtroom, and if we finish earlier and feel we can proceed earlier than that, you will then be able to interact with the panel, and then we can then formulate and proceed.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Both accused, you may stand up. Accused applicants, due to lateness of an hour, will not be able to proceed with this bail application. However, we are going to proceed with this bail application tomorrow, as arranged with your defense counsel and the state. You will both be in custody.
sebe kuna ndzilo wani daisa mahlweni na wona mundzuku mbirhi bya n'wina mi ta pfa mi tshami xitokisini na cancer.
Is that the law?
That is the role, Your Worship.
This court
hayi wena unright kuvoni akuvoni nawe ke isho tibangile ka wena